Hey, everybody, welcome back to Morning Talk with Mike and Paul. I'm Big Mike, and that, my friends, there is Sir Paul Honeyman over in England.
Good morning.
Hey, big news on the English front. Your new Prime Minister made his first speech.
Pissed off.
He's
not my Prime Minister.
He is dumb as the last one.
No, he's dumber. He literally...
Dumber sounds like dumber.
No. Starmer literally groomed him to be his puppet. This all goes back to Tony Blair. The same way that you've had Biden doing, people doing Biden, using Biden's name to do Obama's things.
Yeah.
That's what we've had going with the Labour Party.
Yeah.
This new arsehole, and I don't care if this is court to use to prosecute me or not, Andy Burnham has no right being in that chair. He has no right being in politics. He has literally taken over where Starmer left off. They were both involved in the grooming gang scandals.
Right.
They are both lawyers first. All they want to do is bury the Christianity in our country.
Right.
They should be shot as traitors. Give me a bloody well shooter, I'll do it. For what they've done to my country, I would do it. And I'm not the only one that thinks like this.
Yeah.
We are sick and tired of these grooming gangs that are coming in on these boats, raping our women and our kids.
Yeah.
We need the death penalty, and we need to stop giving them benefits when they arrive.
Right.
Stop the benefits, stop the boats.
Well, if you stop the benefits, people will stop coming and people will leave. They're saying, hey, I need to go over to this country because I don't have to do nothing and somebody will give me a check.
Now, I'm going to say something that's really going to piss you off because you don't like talking about these, because these are nuclear powers. Pakistan need to take their bastards back. It's their bastards that are the grooming gangs.
Yeah.
And yet, because they turned around and said, we won't take them back because they've been nationalised by the British. We should literally go over with a bomber, have them all loaded as bombs, and just drop the bastards. We have a 73-year-old man that used to be a child welfare officer who was being caught as the head of a grooming gang in Andy Burnham's area, who personally raped over 73 minors.
Wow.
That to me is a death sentence.
Yeah, I agree.
They should not be allowed to do it. And I don't care what anyone else says. I would go for the job as the King's executioner, because I've got no problem doing that whatsoever. I could take the life of a rapist and a child abuser and not feel a second thing about it.
I agree. I have no qualms about doing that. Hey, but I wanted to get Paul fired up, and I think I hit the button. But on another note, congratulations to England for winning the bronze medal in the World Cup. They beat France. They beat France 6-4.
Oh, they beat France, all right.
They were having a blast, all the goals that were shot in that game. And then congratulations to Spain, who beat Argentina. They didn't just beat Argentina. Argentina didn't even have one shot on goal.
That's fantastic. I can't stand sport.
In 100, it was a double overtime. In 120 minutes, Argentina never got a shot on goal. That is insane.
There's my favorite Karen.
There she is. Hey, but today, guys, we're talking about parenting versus grandparenting. Kind of hits home for me because I'm a grandparent. Paul's a new grandparent. Okay. And do grandparents have rights?
No,
Okay. Paul
my
says
right,
no. I
my
say
right
that,
as a grandparent is to back up my daughter. I will
okay.
do what I will do. I will back her up 100% when everybody else is here. And when it's just the two of us, I'll tell her what a dick she is.
Yeah.
You're
So,
doing that wrong. You want me to help you raise her the way I raised you? Let me do it.
so
So,
today we're going to be stepping into a family debate that probably exists as long as families have existed.
and before
Okay.
we continue, I have some news I would like to share that I didn't even share with Mike.
Oh, really?
That I shaved half of that off before I sent Mike a photo. Because I
Yeah,
knew
you still had a lot more in the photo.
I knew you'd take that photo and do something with it for the morning talks. So I only went halfway. So, no, I'm not having another grandchild, unfortunately. My big news is I had my annual checkup at the doctor's on Friday, and my blood pressure has gone down from 169/84 to
Ooh.
100 to 136/68.
Ooh, that's good. 68 is good.
Yep.
It's
Oh, thank you, Shirley.
it's verging on not so good once you hit 60. Then you start going into the low blood pressure area.
Yep. My weight. This is the bit I'm loving. So I've gone down from, now I've converted it for you Americans. I've gone down from 310 pounds since I started my diet to 269 pounds.
Wow. Wow, that's damn good.
41 pounds inside 4 months.
Wow. Wow.
And I've lost 3 inches on this fat gut of mine.
Hey. Well, I mean, I was waiting before I sent you an MT Crossroads shirt. Wanted to make sure it was sized correctly.
Yeah, I'm going from a 2X to a XL.
Ooh. There you go. So, guys, parenting versus grandparenting, who's right and who's wrong? And who should have the final say when it comes to raising children? Parents,
Wow, I can't believe Jennifer's just called me a sack of spuds.
parents often say, these are my children, and these are the rules we have to establish. Grandparents may respond, I raised children before you even were born. I have experience and I know a few things too. All right. Then the child walks into the grandparents' house, gets extra snacks, stays up 2 hours past bedtime, and comes home saying, but grandma lets me do it. That's when the disagreement really begins. This is not necessarily a debate about whether parents or grandparents love the child more. In most families, both generations deeply love the child, and real disagreements is usually about authority, boundaries, discipline, experience, and respect. Parents carry out everyday responsibilities. They handle school, meals, medical appointments, routine, discipline, behavior, and long term consequences of the decisions being made. Grandparents often provide something different: family history, emotional support, reassurance, practical assistance, wisdom, and a relationship that may be less burdened by the pressures of everyday parenting. Research recognized that grandparents can serve as caregivers, teachers, playmates, and trusted advisors. A supportive relationship with grandparents has also been associated with positive emotional and social outcomes for the young people. But even when everybody has good intentions, conflict can stop development. When does helping become interfering is a good question. When does advice become criticism? When does spoiling a grandchild become undermining, causes the undermining of parents? And are parents sometimes too quick to dismiss the experiences and wisdom of grandparents and what they can offer? So, guys, that's what we're going to talk about today. I thought it was appropriate. I mean, when we look at our demographics on the channel, the majority of our viewers, 80% plus, are in the range of 45 and older, which kind of puts you into, if you're 45, I mean, sure, you can have grandchildren, because accidents happen. But that's usually when, late 40s, the 50s, and stuff like that. Terry's a grandmother. She's 57, and she's been a grandmother for over 16 years. So that's why I chose this. We have a little conflict in our house, and I'll tell you that, with my son and him using the children as basically a weapon towards us, because it's either his way or, you don't even get to talk to your grandkids. It's kind of frustrating. He's just one that doesn't take advice, and stuff like that. So we kind of deal with that, and it kind of hurts our heart that we send birthday, everything to the kids and stuff like that. But it's sometimes frustrating as a grandparent.
You'll get the bollocking from Jennifer.
What's that?
You're supposed to say Terry is 47.
No, Terry is 57.
You're supposed to deduct 10 years from a female when they get over 40.
Is that kind of like when they say a camera puts 5 pounds on you?
Camera doesn't put 5 pounds on you, it puts 10 pounds on you.
Does it put a camera puts 10 pounds on? Well, how many cameras do I have on me?
About 14. About 14.
But guys, this is an open mic, as always. It'll always be an open mic, and you're more than welcome to come up, share your experience, share your side of the story, or any story whatsoever. We'd love to hear from you. So the channel is always open to you on MT Crossroads, no matter what we do. So, guys, before we begin, hey, if you would, hit that thumbs up button. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, we welcome you to subscribe. So let's see who we got in the chat, Paul.
Well, before you start that, I've just checked on comments on StreamYard. You have a new member, 10:38 this morning, by the name of Jody Young.
She must have dropped off, and a new member.
Yeah.
Okay.
See, Jody, MT
Crossroads. She always gifts membership, but she fell off, and she just realized it, and she signed up as a member again. So welcome back in, Judy Herman.
Jody
Young. I'm looking at the chat, Paul.
Yeah, you're not listening.
Hey, there's Wendy. over at Hardknack Farms. Tinkerbell's in the house, guys.
Yep.
Good morning. I'm wide awake. Can't sleep. Oh, she must have came in early there. Hey, Beans, welcome in. Thank you for coming in. And thank you for that comment on the video. I appreciate that. There's Jennifer Ocean Homestead.
Yep.
Everybody listening while I get ready to go out and work in the garden again. All right. Miss Arlene, hello to you, darling. Debbie Drop.
Rebecca Touched by Yarn says 5 days and she'll be the same age as you again.
Yes, she will. And good morning to you, Rebecca. Everybody's saying hello to everybody. Let's see.
Kelly Rebel at Heart's also in here.
There's Charlene Grady. Hello, Charlene. Good to see you.
Rice Lewis has just joined us. Tony, our cabin in the woods.
Hello, Tony. There's our favorite Karens right there.
Yep. Ray. Now this one gets me because I keep thinking about Raleigh. Rainy Creative.
Let's see. I'm glad everybody's chatting this morning. Trying to get down to. There she is, little heart. Yep. Welcome in, Kelly. We have got 16 people in here this morning.
There's Jolly Hopers has just joined us.
I became a grandparent at 34. Wow. Yep, there's Tony. Good to see you, Tony. Charlene says, I love being a grandma.
I love being grandpa.
I do too.
Best thing for me is my granddaughter is now sprinting across the bloody old thing. She's only crawling, but she's a fast little bugger.
Hello, Rice Lewis. Raleigh Creative is here. I don't have kids, but you raise your kids the best you can. And when your kids have kids, you pray they remember their raising. Yeah. Well, and in some cases, hopefully they don't. I told myself, I think I was, I want to say, I was 9 years old. And I heard my parents yelling and screaming. It was like normal. It's usually about money and stuff like that. And where we didn't have a lot of money, but my dad always found money to go drinking. Probably why we didn't have a lot of money. And I remember my dad packing a suitcase and walking out the door, and I never saw him again. Talked to him on the phone a couple of times, and I think it was my birthday, my 10th birthday. And he said, I'm going to be there. Don't worry, son, I'll be there. And I sat out front by the sidewalk and I waited. And I waited and I waited. All day I sat out there. Never showed up. And I never saw my dad again. And it wasn't until 1972, Thanksgiving Day, we were living with my grandmother in Mesa, Arizona, and state trooper came to the door and said that my dad had been killed in a traffic accident in Tupelo, Mississippi, because he started driving truck and stuff like that, and he had died. So, yeah, I mean, my mom, she changed um, from the way she was to being the head of the household, taking care of 7 kids, um, and working as a nurse's aide. So we struggled. We struggled bad.
There
And
must have been a lot of power outages when you were a kid.
what is that?
7?
Oh, so yeah, it was hard. And I told myself that if I ever have kids, I will never ever do or have them go through something that I experienced. And I kept that promise for the longest time, guys. I took it for, I mean, I promised myself, even when I knew the marriage was over, I didn't walk away. Um, and it was the hardest time for me to live with somebody that basically repulsed me. Um, and it was, but I did it for my kids because, I told myself it would be so hard on the kids if I would have left 10 years before I actually did. And I didn't actually leave. I packed her up and moved her back to Germany where she wanted to go. I had one military move left, and I moved everything that she wanted with her. And the kids were older. And I said, it's going to be harder on them if they're young and you leave. But guys, I'm going to tell you something. No time is a good time.
Yep.
When they're older, they have a voice. And my boys voiced their opinion. They loved their mom. They loved their dad. We gave them, I set them down and I said, hey, this is a huge decision. Your mom's leaving, and I am going to give you, a chance to voice what you want to do. And being boys, they said, well, we're going to go with mom because she needs us. And I said, okay, even though my heart was breaking and I didn't want the divorce to be all about who wins and who loses. Okay. And I did that for them. And when the fighting begins all the time, I would just go outside and do some work and get away from it. I did not want to fight in front of the kids, and she didn't care whether we did or not. But it was a year later. My boys, I called them every Saturday like clockwork. And my boys, it was about a year later, my boys said, Dad, you got to get us out of here. Mom's never at home. We're always staying over at grandma's house. We wake up and there's somebody different in the house every time we wake up. And so I talked to her and I said, you know what? I would really, truly love to see the boys. I will pay for their plane ticket, round trip ticket, everything. And she finally agreed to it. My boys never went back. Okay. She contacted the courts and the courts sent an order. I had um, a U.S. Marshal come to my house and said, "We're here for your boys to transport them back to Germany." And I said, "You can't take them. They're U.S. citizens." He goes, "No," he goes, "they're German citizens according to this." I said, here's their birth certificates. And so I had to go back to my lawyer, and State Department got involved, sent a letter to the court, says you have no jurisdiction over U.S. citizens, and the boys never went back. I
Say
will
hello
tell
to
you, I will tell you, being a parent sometimes sucks. You know, sometimes it sucks to be a parent. You try to raise your children the best you can, while at the same time, 5 minutes with a new friend can ruin everything that you put into a child. Okay. Grandmother used to say a thing all the time: tell me who you hang around with, and I'll tell you who you are.
Yep.
Okay. Friends have such a big influence, and kids bring that back into the family dynamic. Okay. Because once they leave your house, it's like, man, the world's a scary freaking place.
Yeah.
And it can ruin your kids. Yeah, sometimes people say, oh, no, there's no such thing as a bad kid. Guys, yes, there is.
And do you know the difference between our time and now? Now it's all on camera.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I will tell you another story. As a parent, I had to leave. My boys both were teenagers. I had to go for a week to some training in Washington, D.C. And I came back and I looked at the house when I got back and I go, whoa, wait a minute. This house is cleaned. Everything's in where it's supposed to be. There's no laundry. Something's wrong here. Something's wrong. Boys were in school when I got back. And so I started looking around. Because as a parent, I believe, hey, you have no, this is mine. Because everything you got, I gave you. So I go in there and I'm looking around and stuff like that. And I open up a drawer, the top drawer, which Mike called his junk drawer. And there was a Sony compact camera in there. I said, my son doesn't have a compact camera. And so I got it out and I flipped the screen open and I hit play. Guys, there had to be 30 people in my house. Somebody's walking around with, some girls walking around with a camera, talking on it and stuff like that. And I mean, they're smoking bud, they're drinking beer and whiskey and all this stuff. And I said, wait a minute, that's my stuff. All right. So I walked into where I kept it locked up. I opened it up and I'm going like this. I'm looking at it. I said, hey, well, all the bottles are filled. Right. And I set one on the counter and I walked away and I came back. I'm going, that bourbon sure is see-through. And I poured them in a cup and they poured water in what they drank. And I'm just like going, oh my God. So I'm going through this camera. I'm sitting there going to the camera. All of a sudden, I have 6 girls in my living room stripping butt naked on video. And I knew 4 of the girls that were there. I know their parents and everything. I'm going, oh my Lord, right? And then some other disgusting things that this person was videoing and stuff like that. And so the boys came home from school. Hey, Dad, what's up, man? We missed you. I said, you did? And I had gotten the cable and I hooked the Sony camera up to the big TV. I said, guys, have a seat. Out of Kevin's mouth, he goes, are we in trouble? Because we know you're going to lecture us when I tell him to have a seat. I said, no, no, no. I said, guys, you got to watch this. And I went over there and I hit play. And I started it off with the stripping in my living room. I said, the only question I have is, who are these two girls? Because I don't recognize them. And he's going, they're from Waynesville. We lived out in Lakeway. I said, oh, how'd you meet them? They're friends with these other girls and they came out for a party that we had here, Dad. We're sorry. I said, no, let's keep watching this video. I made him sit there and watch the whole video. So then I was one of those parents. I didn't take away your cell phone. I didn't take away your PlayStation. I went out there and I got the burn barrel burning and I threw it all in the burn barrel. And they were freaking having a fit. I said, I made a decision. We don't need this in our lives anymore. And I threw all that stuff in the burn barrel and I burned it. And then of course they could go to school, but they couldn't go nowhere, for a month. And I put extra chores and stuff like that on there for them. But sometimes it's hard.
Yeah.
I know nowadays I've heard people or kids taking their parents to court because of cruel and unusual punishment because they took their cell phone away from them. Because nowadays the cell phone is like a sixth finger. You can't live without it. So some of the decision parents have to do is hard.
These days, what you did to your kids probably saved them from jail time.
Well, I will tell you that it did not.
All right, it saved them from jail time then.
I tried the best I could. Part of the problem was I gave them everything they wanted and not just the things that they needed because I felt guilty. So I basically enabled them growing up because I was always gone. I was deployed, something, and I gave them everything they wanted because the guilt inside me because I was never there. But my oldest son, and he started getting into the drug scene and stuff like that. His first time he went to prison was at age 20. And he got a 3-year sentence in prison. He got out after a year and a half. 6 months later, he was doing a 5-year sentence. He did less than a year, and they let him out on probation because of overcrowding. And then he plotted with some kids to steal 10 flat screen TVs out of Walmart. And he had a friend that worked in Walmart, and he got a box truck. They went out and rented a box truck and pulled it behind Walmart. His friend called and said, hey, we just got a shipment of all these flat screens. So they, middle of the night, they went over there, put them inside there, went up to St. Louis, sold them on the side of the road in a certain area, of St. Louis and sold all of them for like $300 a piece. Got caught. Judge sentenced him that burglary and all that. He got 15 years in prison. There 3 sentences of 5 years apiece to run, but they said consecutively. And then he put a thing on him because Walmart requested that he couldn't step inside of a Walmart for life. So he served 5 years and they let him out. Okay. So right now he's up to from age 20 to age 27. 7 years in prison, through his 20s. And then got out, got put back in for a parole violation, spent another year. So that's 8 years. Let him back out. And then he finally went back to prison on some more charges for breaking and entering and stuff like that. And that's where he died. He died in prison from a drug overdose of fentanyl and meth. Both lethal doses, and that's where he died. And going through that as a parent, spending every last dime I could I put him in drug rehab. I drove him all the way to Nebraska to a teen rehabilitation center that the University of Nebraska sponsors. I used all my healthcare insurance that I could. I emptied my savings account because he said he wants to change. And as soon as he got out, 6 days later, somebody seen somebody laying by the side of the road. He had gotten high, going back after about 9 months of not using. He went back, and when I talked to him later, and he overdosed. And the people he was riding around with just threw him out of the car, his so-called friends.
Yeah.
And he was in a Mercy Hospital in Lebanon. And I'm telling you something. If you're a parent that have children and you've gone through the drug scene with them and stuff like that, it challenges you as a parent. I've been in relationships and they broke up for whatever reason. And yes, it hurt, but nothing will hurt you more than your kids when they do things like that. It absolutely breaks your freaking heart. And I went to a course, a leadership course, and they make you do this test, and it's like 300 or 400 questions that you got to do. And then they tell you what your personality is. And mine said that my lowest score on there was empathy. And I'm going, holy crap. And everything that you do in life or you experience in life builds on your personality. And my heart was broken so bad by my son that I didn't stop loving him.
You can't.
Gosh dang, he pissed me off. I mean, sometimes I just wanted to run my head through the wall. And it wasn't a matter of if my son was going to die, it was when. And in 2020, we got a call from my youngest son, Kevin, because Mike had put Kevin down as his contact, whatever, when he went to prison, and he said Mike died, and I was in Korea, and all I remember is I didn't cry or nothing like that, but I did. We went online, got tickets, and I called my boss when we were going to the airport. I said, "Hey, I'm going back to the States. My son is in the hospital on life support. So he wasn't dead. Um, but they said, hey, you need to get the family here." Um, so we flew for 13 hours on a plane, still no emotion, no nothing. We got to St. Louis because he was in a prison outside of St. Louis. Got to the hospital, and I walked in and I seen my son laying in the bed. And he had ankle cuffs and handcuffs on him laying in the bed. And over in the corner was a prison guard. And I just grabbed his hand. And when I grabbed his hand, I said, wait a minute, he's not alive. And the lady said, no, we've got him on this machine, that machine, and this machine. We have done, doctor came in and said, hey, we have done this and that. We got one more test to do. And they did it. And they came back and he says, this is the image of your son's brain. And it was dead. It was black. And he said, he is for all purposes dead. And they said, we got a decision to make. And I had to make the decision to end his life.
You did not end his life. His life was already gone. So whatever guilt you carry for turning that machine off, stop it.
Yeah.
It's not your guilt.
Yeah.
It's not your guilt to carry. Your son took that guilt with him.
Yeah, I know.
That
I
was
know.
his choices, Mike.
At the time, and that's when it all broke loose.
Yeah.
And I don't think I've been in car accidents. I've been shot, and nothing hurt more than that day. So sometimes being a parent sucks.
You've got Amy, double trouble. You've got her crying now. I can say this, Mike. Having to turn somebody's life support machines off rips a chunk out of you. I know I had to do that last year for my brother.
Yeah.
He was still conscious and cognitive. And I had to go in and tell him he was going to die in the next 2 hours.
Yeah.
And he says, what do you mean? I says, you keep saying you're going home. You're not. The only thing keeping you breathing is that machine. I says, you've still got your smarts, but you're not listening to the doctors.
Yeah.
He says, well, they keep saying I'll be fine. I says, no, they keep saying this is going to be the last bed you're ever going to be in.
Right.
Now, they've told you that, and they've told you that. We went home. It took us 2.5 hours to go home. And then we get a phone call saying we need you to come back because he's not listening to us.
Right.
I had to go back and say, right, I'm here. Get me the doctor. Says the doctor's doing his rounds. I says, I don't care what the doctor's doing. I can't afford to spend this on petrol every time you turn around and say you've got something wrong with him because he says he's going home.
Yeah.
Says, I can tell you now, Paul, he's not going home. We just can't get through to his head. I says, right, so what's happening? We can't tell you. The doctor's, well, by then I was getting really agitated.
Right.
I said, get the doctor now before I start leveling this corridor. And he looked at me and says, what do you mean leveling it? I says, every machine in here is going to go out that pissing window if you don't get the doctor. So they ran off and got the doctor. And the doctor came in and sat me down and says, calm down. This is what's going on with your brother. His lungs have stopped. The only thing keeping him breathing is the machine he's on. We have gone through every procedure we can. We've tried reinflating his lungs. They just keep collapsing.
Yeah.
Your brother is going to die when we turn the machine off.
Right.
We need written consent to turn the machine off. We've got a family downstairs with a young kid who stands a good chance of surviving if we can get him on the machine.
Yeah.
I said, so you want me to kill my brother so you can put somebody else on it? And the doctor looked at me and said, no, he's already dead. He just won't piss and well admit it.
Yeah.
I said, right, so you want me to go in there and be a big brother? Basically, that's what we need because he's not listening to us. So I went in and I sat down and my kid brother Gary, who had been there while we were talking, he says, do you want me to empty the room? I says, no, they're all going to hear it. They're all going to know in the next couple of hours. And I sat down and the nurse came in and said, would you like a cup of coffee? I said, I would like a cup of coffee and he's going to need one. Oh, we've just filled his up. She says, right. She says, Darryl, put your coffee down. He looked at me, he says, what's up? I says, put your coffee down now. We need to talk. Right. So remember the talk we had when you came to see me last year? What's going to happen when one of us goes? Yeah. I says, I was supposed to be the one to go first. I'm the oldest. Now I'm having to sign your life off. And he looked at me and says, what do you mean? I says, have I got your attention? Because you're a corpse. And he looked at me and says, I'm going home. I says, you're never going to see your flat again, kid. The doctors have been trying to tell you, when they turn the machine off, you're going to pass. It could be an hour, it could be 2. But that's as long as you've got. They need the machine for a young kid downstairs who stands a good chance of living a long life.
Yeah.
And he says, so basically you're telling me I'm fucked. I said, finally. He says, why didn't you tell me the other day? I said, because the fucking doctor wouldn't come in and tell me. He was doing his fucking rounds.
Yeah.
I said, because I went home again, they called him in this morning because I raised the stink. I said, no, I'm telling you, kid, They're coming in 30 minutes to turn your machine off. However long you last after that is down to you. So they came in, we finished with coffee together, we sat talking for 20 minutes. They came in, they turned the machine off. And I watched my brother go in an hour and a half. And I sat there, and the people, his stepkids, were sitting there looking at me. And he's got no fucking heart.
Yeah.
And I looked at them, I says, I beg your pardon? I've got no heart. I've just had to tell my fucking kid brother I'm going to kill him because somebody else needs to live. And he's got no chance. And you think I fucking enjoyed it? Because
Yeah.
I'm not crying and breaking down in front of you. And he says, well, I didn't think of it like that. He says, no. I says, before you start talking about my family, get to fucking know us first.
Right.
And I tell you what, for the next 4 days, I was clearing out his flat. I seen them every day, getting to know how we grew up. Knowing that my mother brought us up because my dad was a serving soldier. And when they found out he was a bloody old para, they just shut up. Because over here, our paras are like your Green Berets. They're fucking mental.
Yeah.
So that's don't carry that grief, mate. If you need to, talk to someone.
Yeah, and I have.
Yeah. That's why I talk to a counsellor, and that's why I am the way I am now. I've got no secrets. You can ask me anything, even the things that embarrassed me and I'm ashamed of, and I will tell you straight up what I've done. I don't care anymore. You take me as I am or fuck off.
Yeah.
Hello, Barnaby.
Well, and I will tell you that out of all that, I don't get excited when my birthday comes around because the 23rd of January, 2020 is the day. Yep.
You read it?
I see it. You are enough.
And that's the back.
Yeah.
I
The
have
world is a better place with you in it, no doubt.
I have a lot of them. And I
Yeah.
just ordered 3 more.
So the 23rd of January is my birthday. And the 23rd of January, 2020 is when I made the decision and had them turn off the machines. It was on my birthday.
Yeah.
I will tell you that, again, parenting is hard. There's no rule book. The only rule book or instruction book you have in your arsenal is what you learned watching your parents raise you. That's all you got. I mean, you don't get the experience unless you had brothers and sisters of the house with a baby crying at 2 o'clock in the morning or whatever. And no sleep. Nobody can get no sleep or anything like that. You don't experience that unless you've had brothers and sisters. But it is the grandparents that have the institutional knowledge of raising children. And a lot of parents will say, I am not raising my kid the way my parents raised us because you were so mistreated or you thought you were so mistreated. And some people say, man, my parents were just like, they couldn't do no wrong. They raised us the right way. And that's great too. That's absolutely awesome. But let's begin with an important point. Parenting and grandparenting are not simply the same job performed by people of different ages. Parents is usually responsible for the child's everyday upbringing, and that includes creating routines, establishing expectations, making educational and medical decisions, correcting behavior, and teaching responsibility. All right. Providing basic necessities and helping prepare the child for adulthood. The parent has to think beyond what makes a child happy today. The parent must also consider what will help the child become responsible, independent, and emotionally healthy in the future. And that's all true. But gosh dang, it's hard. Okay. You know, when you're young and you're in love, love only goes so far until you start getting hungry. Okay.
Yeah. When you
And
start
young
getting hungry,
people,
you've got to start thinking with a big head.
and young people, um, number one problem that I've seen on statistics is money.
Yeah.
Okay. Then you have to think back and you go, wow, my parents said, yeah, you don't need a class ring. Okay. Um, we don't have the money. And you hear that all the time. But it's not until you become a parent, and I will tell you, it hit me, okay, as an E4 in the Army, all right, making $1,230 a month back then. Yes, I had Army housing, so I didn't have to pay rent, electricity, trash, or nothing like that. They gave me a place to live, okay? But that 1,200 and something dollars after taxes didn't go very far.
Yeah.
Yes, I got to shop at the commissary. Well, back then it was really cheap to shop at the commissary, um, but it didn't go very far. And it wasn't until I became a parent that it hit me like a sack of potatoes on the head. It hit me when I held my oldest son for the first time, and something happened to me, guys. Something absolutely happened to me when my first child was born. And the realization that I couldn't love anything more in this entire world, not even my wife, than I can with my child.
Yep.
And it floored me. When I say floored me, I was holding my kid when they put him in my arms, and I just sat down on the floor against the cabinets in the delivery room, holding him. And that love you have for something that you just met is undeniably the greatest thing that ever happened. And the thing that breaks breaks parents, or your parents losing their shit over things that you do, is that unconditional love that they have for you, and how easy it takes for somebody that you love so deeply to break your heart by doing stupid things. Okay? The next part of life is they get a driver's license. Scares the holy bejesus out of me. It scared me to no freaking end because I know what these kids do. Because why? I was a kid and I know what I did, how many kids I could get into the car and go driving around and getting in trouble or just having fun. Gosh, you talk about some distracted driving. I've been in cars where, man, I'm going to tell you something. I had one friend that had a van, and I don't know how we got 25 people in that van, but we got them in there. We're going down tubing down the river. No, we didn't tell our parents. Hell no, they'd say, no, you're not going down there. And just doing dumb stuff. Yeah, we smoked some weed on the river back in the 70s. I'm not going to lie.
I never smoked weed.
And it was just, as kids, we just thought, hey, we're having a good time. We're out of our parents' control. Right? But I was never a parent that didn't believe somebody else when they said, your son did this. Now, I have met parents as a cop. When you go to their house, oh, no, not my son. No, you couldn't even get it up. No, my son would never. I said, you have no freaking idea what your son does when he's out of your sight. I was never that parent. I started whooping ass before whoever told me, I remember, and I'm not proud of this. I was in the principal's office and my son told his teacher to go fuck herself. Right? And he was sent to the principal's office. He was 16 years old. They called me at work. They said, hey, Mr. Elmer, we got your son Kevin in the principal's office. He's getting suspended. Told me everything about it. I went to the school. I said, boss, I've got to go to handle a thing at the school. And I had to take leave to do that. So I went to the school. I walked in the secretary's office and I just headed straight to the principal's door. I walked in, I slammed the door. And my son stood up and he's seen it. My son, my boys was raised by my facial expressions to them. They know when I'm happy. They know when I'm sad. They know when I'm about to destroy their world. And my son jumped up and he said, wait, Dad. And I punched him so hard in the face, he flew over the chair and hit the door on the other opposite side of the wall. I mean, I'm not proud of it, but I did not raise my children to disrespect authority like that. Yeah. And the principal just stands there like going, I said, if you need to call the cops, you go ahead. I looked at him when he woke up because I was slapping him in the face. I said, come on, wake up, wake up. I said, get your ass in the truck. And they gave me the thing. I signed it. And I took him home. I said, you leave this property. You leave this farm. And it'll be the last time you step foot here. And every day I gave him a long list of 8 hours worth of work to do. I don't care if it was just cutting trees. Right? I gave him things to do. And I'm going to tell you, I'm not proud of that moment, but I was at my breaking point because just prior to that, he had done a whole bunch of other crap that I had to get him out, go down to the police department and all kinds of stuff. I'm not proud of it.
I did, Jamie.
But
Just
sometimes
once.
the breaking point breaks. The weak point breaks. I'm a soldier. I was trained to shoot, move, and communicate and destroy the enemy. And from that day forward, it was no, sir, yes, sir. My son, Kevin, it was no, sir, yes, sir. And there's trying times as parents, guys. But when you're a grandparent, when you have none of the responsibilities of raising the child, grandparents often enter a child's life from a different position. They may have more time to listen, tell stories, teach family traditions, and enjoy moments that exhausted parents cannot always slow down and appreciate. Grandparents can also act as a bridge between the generations. North Dakota State University Extension described grandparenting as storytellers, family historians, listening ears, and guides who connect the family's past with the future. What does that sound like? That sounds like the hierarchy of indigenous people, right?
Mm-hmm.
You don't know where you come from until the elders tell you the stories. Okay? They connect your past, where you came from, to the future, which is now. That's the importance of a grandparent. To tell you those embarrassing stories about your parents when you were raising them and the way you seen it, not the way your parents seen it. Because those are always good stories to tell your grandkids. Oh, don't worry about that. Your mom, okay? Your mom, when we were moving to Arizona and we said, hey, we're getting ready to leave Texas, we're going into New Mexico. And I said, your mom popped up from the back seat and says, hey, New Mexico, I don't have a passport. And I looked at it and I said, you sure are pretty. I said, New Mexico. And she said, yeah, I know. I don't have a passport. How am I going to get back in the United States? And I said, sweetheart, New Mexico is a state in America. She said, what? And my son looked back at her and says, you're right, Dad. She sure is pretty. And I told my granddaughter that story and she busted up laughing. Okay.
And now you wonder why Brittany won't have kids.
No, that's not Brittany. That's Kristen, my daughter-in-law.
Yeah, I'm saying now you wonder why Brittany won't have kids.
But it is a grandparent's job to connect the past to the future. That is an incredible, valuable role, but it does not automatically make the grandparent the primary decision maker. I kind of differ on that. Okay, guys? I say when you call me up and say, hey, can you watch the kids for the weekend? We have a getaway plan, blah, blah, blah. When you instill the responsibility of me raising your children in that weekend, in that whatever week or whatever, you have given me all the rights and privileges of a parent. Okay? That's me.
I'm the
Parents
same
come
way.
home to pick up the kids. They look at them and say, Grandpa whooped me on Friday. You're crying on a Monday? I mean, what? They put on that face.
Yeah.
Grandpa whooped me on Friday. And they looked at me and I said, okay, what? Dad, we don't whip the kids.
That's the problem.
I said, what do you do? We talk to them. I said, how do you reason with the 3-year-old? How do you reason? I said, it's a proven theory. For every action, there must be a reaction. Okay. If you dig through my trash as a 3-year-old, I have no idea why he was so obsessed with the trash in our house. I think he was 2. I don't know how old he was. He used to come to my house and dig through the trash. And we couldn't understand it. And he'd have all the trash all over the kitchen floor. And of course, I'd pick him up. He had a diaper on. I gave him a swift pat on the butt. And you thought I just cut off a finger. Okay. And when that first time happened, I said, well, he's young, it was a shock but then the next day he got up and went through the trash again. Gave him another swat on the butt, some more crying. Finally, he stopped doing it.
Yeah.
Because he kind of figured out that if I do this, that big person will come and smack me on the butt. So I better not do it. And he never did it again. Then he got older, did something, swat him on the butt. I don't think it takes more than just an open hand on the keister, whether they have a diaper on or not, to grab their attention. Okay. And always they'd come up to you afterwards, after they're done crying and stuff, and they'll look at you. They'll stand right in front of you and then crawl up and just want to sit next to you and go to sleep next to you.
Yep.
You've established who the parent is. They know that's the disciplinary guy. I know that mom is the sweet, loving, you're my sweetest child in the entire world. There's nobody better than you. You're the smartest and all that. While you have the disciplinarian over here. Now, when kids get confused is when you're a single parent.
Hell's let loose.
You're a single parent and you're both the love giver and the disciplinarian. That's when kids get confused. Because it's one person. And I get that. But being a grandparent, you've already gone through life. My son asked me that one time, he said, Dad, you never gave us stuff like you're doing our kids. You're spoiling our kids. I said, I didn't have no money back then. And that's the honest to God truth. As a young parent, I didn't have any freaking money.
No, you turn around and tell them the full truth. You had a mother that was spending the bloody money, so I didn't have it.
Well, you too. So it's a fine line. But one of the things you have to do as a parent and a grandparent, all right,
is who said, as a toddler, he knew well enough how to manipulate his parents to get you into trouble.
Yeah, exactly. But then you got to ask, who should have final say? In most ordinary families, situations, and parents should have the final say because they carry out the primary responsibility for the consequences.
Yep.
Right? If a grandparent allows a child to stay up late, the parent may be the person dealing with the tired and irritable child the following morning. If a grandparent ignores food restrictions, the parents may have to deal with the health consequence. Okay? If a grandparent promises a child something without asking, the parents may be placed in an uncomfortable position of either breaking the promise or accepting a decision they never approved. Respecting the parent's authority does not mean grandparents must remain silent. There is a difference between offering advice privately and overruling the parent in front of the child. What's that?
Amy just says, Chris always says if he could skip the kids and go straight to the grandkids, he would have. Being a grandparent is so much better.
Yeah.
The best thing about being a grandparent is you can just go home.
Yeah. I was confused when mom grabbed me by the throat, slamming me against a wall with a 8-inch cast iron skillet, cracked my back, and already
Cocked back and ready to bean my head.
cocked back and ready to beam me in the head by a single mother. I'm telling you, listen, if what single mothers go through, and I'm a product of a single mother, okay, what a single parent goes through and the hell that's played on their brain raising children alone, and all the responsibility falls on one. And I can imagine having 2 kids and you're a single parent, but imagine a mom with 7 children all wanting stuff. There's no money, and you got to be the disciplinarian too. Sometimes that lovey-dovey mom takes to the back burner because she's so busy correcting the children and what they're doing. Back in the probably before 50s and beyond, those single moms would probably be classified as nut jobs and put into an asylum somewhere.
They think that was a holiday.
Yeah, I'm telling you, because back, 1900s, 1920s, blah, blah, blah. Hell, women when they didn't understand what menopause was, they put them away. They said, man, this is a crazy ass woman. You got to put her away. Something's wrong with them until they finally figured out, hey, this is the goings on. But being a single parent has got to be a crazy thing. I was a single mom of 3 until Chris came into our lives. The kids were 1, 2, and 3. Wow. You had a streak going there, girl, when Chris and I got together.
Amy got mixed up. She thought she was a rabbit.
Man, girl. 1, 2, 3. But a grandparent may say, I noticed something that concerns me. Would you like to hear my thoughts? That is very different than saying, hey, your mother is being ridiculous. You can do it in my house. That should never happen.
Yeah.
Once an adult encourages a child to disregard the parents, the disagreement is no longer between adults. The child has been placed in the middle, and the child learns quickly or very quickly which adult is most likely to give them the answer they want. All right. Devil's advocate. Okay. When parents and grandparents openly contradict one another, a child may become confused, or they may begin playing one generation against another. The adults must communicate directly rather than sending a message to the child. There is also an important exception. If a grandparent reasonably believes a child is being abused, neglected, or placed in imminent danger, the situation is no longer a normal disagreement over parenting styles. Safety must come first, and appropriate professional or emergency help may be needed. Okay. But a disagreement over bedtime, screen time, snacks, clothing, or household routines usually require communication, not a family war. So I agree 100%. If you're a parent and those are your children, you need to lay down the law to your mom and your dad, to the grandparents, saying, hey, we go to bed at 7:30. Okay. We don't eat this and we don't eat that. And we blah, 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 blah. I don't care if you write it down. Say, here, these are our do's and don'ts. I would really love if you would adhere to those while you're watching the child. Now, this is a transaction between parents and grandparents. Now, as a grandparent, I can look at it. All right, if they do something wrong, set them down, sit in front of them, and explain to them what they've done wrong and that it's not good that they did that. As somebody born in the 60s, almost into the 50s, I look at that and I said, are you out of your freaking mind? That child's 3 years old, and I am not going to sit there and negotiate good behavior in words because he can't comprehend what I'm saying. His brain is not developed enough. And I know that as a parent because I raise kids, right? And I know that's not very healthy. So, as a grandparent, you have a duty to say, negotiate the contract. If the parents say, no, we're not budging on that, all right, go pay somebody else to watch your children. That's what I would say. Mm-hmm. My house, my rules. I will honor what you tell me to do and not to do. Okay. I will try my best. Okay. I will try my best. Okay.
My daughter's got me over a barrel there. She won't drop the bin off here. I have to go there.
Why's that? You have to watch it at their house.
Yeah.
So you stay at their house when they're gone.
Yep.
Okay. Well, I mean, that could be a rule. I mean, that's your house is not child-proof, Paul. It's probably not even Paul-proofed.
It's not. But I am the only grandparent allowed to babysit.
Yeah.
She told her mother, this has me, every time I hear this, I get a warm feeling. When her mother, who's never actually been to the house without me picking her up in my car and taking her.
Right.
When her mother turned around and says, when can I babysit? She turned around and said, when hell freezes over. She says, why can your dad babysit? Because he won't spoil her.
Yeah.
She says, what? She says, he won't spoil her. He won't go out and get a £10,000 loan just to spoil her.
Yeah. Amy, when I read that, I automatically picture this YouTube video where a young kid is yelling, screaming, and cussing at somebody or at her mom or something like that. And the next thing you know, the screen goes black. And then you hear somebody, hey, wake up, wake up. And the girl opens her eyes. Oh, there you are. Hey, you lost your mind for a second. Because you just got knocked the fuck out. Okay?
What did we do?
I love those videos. All right? Not saying that the point is you broke a rule. You will not disrespect your elders. That's what I was raised on. if I hear you talking to somebody in a disrespectful manner, I remember my mom grabbing me by the back of the head, the hair, and dragging me out of a store. And then we're on the street out there. And she told me, if you move from that spot right there, you better be right there when I come out. I'm going to tell you something. My mom, well, when my grandmother was alive and we were living with her, she was the disciplinarian. My grandmother, I don't care, whatever was next to her, she was beating your ass with it. Okay. I learned, go get me a switch. I went out back and I got a thin one. I didn't get a big old stick. Big mistake. Little sticks wrap around your waist when it hits.
Yeah.
Like a whip. And I'm going to tell you something. They leave marks. And I'm going to tell you something. One time, my sister was riding her bike in the backyard. We had like a half-acre lot in the back of the house. And I had a broken off broom handle, and I was playing like Swords Against the Tree and stuff like that. My sister came back and I threw the broom handle towards her like a spear, and it got into the spokes of the wheel. It came up on the fork and flipped her over, and she had marks all on her chin and stuff like that where she hit the dirt. Of course, she ran inside screaming bloody murder. It's my sister, Teresa. Teresa, if you're listening, I'm sorry for my actions back then. And my grandmother came out. What did you do? What did you do? And she goes, get on that bike. I said, and she goes, and you better ride it fast. Around the circle, just like your sister. When I came back around and I was riding it, my grandmother stood there and she went wham right into the spokes of the wheel, flipped over that bike, boom. I thought I broke my neck. I heard something crack in my neck. She looked at me. She goes, don't ever do that again. I said, holy crap. My grandmother was from the generation, if you chop my finger off, you get your finger chopped off. An eye for an eye. I remember one time the cops brought me home. They said, I told him my name. He goes, wait a minute. I know that. I went to school with your mom. I go, oh, shit. And he goes, wait a minute. Is your grandmother Aline? I said, yeah. He goes, okay. I know where you live. Knock on the door. Hey, Miss Aline, how you doing? She goes, oh, how are you doing? And she seen me, and her facial expression went from happy to see the cop at the front door to you are dead meat. And then she looked back up with a smile on her face like, oh, man, how's your mom and dad doing? All right. I heard you got married. How's that going? Blah, blah, blah. And he says, well, we didn't want to take him in and turn him over to juvie because I knew who you were. I trust you'll handle this. We were out TPing people's houses, friends of ours. You take toilet paper, you steal all the toilet paper you can from your house. You go over there and you throw it through the trees. But we did one other thing. On top of that, we collect trash bags from people's trash cans, and we dump that all over the lawn because the parents would make our friend go out there. So if you weren't invited to a TP party, you were probably on the hit list. Okay. And my grandmother was, before she got rudely interrupted by the police, was hanging a picture she had got from, I think, my Uncle Radford. And I walked in front of her. She had her hand right there on my shoulder, but it was like dug in. And I was like, going, ah. We walked into the house because we had a little screen porch and then we had the house. And she had this little house hammer. And she hit me about 4 or 5 times with that freaking hammer. And I mean, at one time, I seen hot dogs and bananas because she hit me in the head with it. She had no problems whooping your butt at all.
Whooping your butt and trying to kill you.
Exactly. The day she died, I didn't want to go to her funeral. Of course, my mom says, you're going. And we went to the funeral and she'll say, you'll stand right behind me when we look in the casket and all that stuff. I'm just like going, and I got up there and my life with her flashed before my eyes and I just smiled. And I had the biggest shit-eating grin on my face. And my sister says, why are you smiling? I said, she's dead. That's how much I hated my grandmother.
Yeah.
And I was a child. I mean, I was a young kid. All right. And I just knew that the ass whoopings were over with. You know? But now as a grandparent, I'm a nicer person. I'm not that angry parent who has to provide for a whole family and do without and give and give and give and give and be the disciplinarian at the same time being the football coach, being the baseball coach, providing food, doing the yard work. Everything that goes on in a daily thing for a 2-parent household, that's what you have to do. Now, do all those things that a 2-family thing, and you put it on 1 parent. Man, I'm going to tell you something. Some of the stuff gets dropped between the cracks. All right. So being a parent is a hard job. But now as a grandparent, I love seeing my grandkids. Yes, I do spoil them. My granddaughter, Mackenzie, when Terry and them go, because Terry's leaving today to go down to Texas. Her mom's got to leave to go to North Carolina. So Terry's staying with the kids. When that's done, Terry's packing up Mackenzie and going down to Waco to pick up Brittany. And they're going for a girls' week for Mackenzie's birthday, like they do every year. But one of the things I love about Mackenzie, if she would let us spoil the crap out of her, she can't do that. She goes like this. She goes, oh, Grandma, that's too much. I don't want it. I don't want it. I don't want it. So we've learned to say, hey, Mackenzie, it's your birthday. Here's some money in a card. Okay. And it's like Terry bought her a little diamond necklace for her birthday. It's like a little heart-shaped thing that hangs on a chain. Kenzie almost started crying because she goes, I know how much these things cost. Because she looks at all that stuff in the store. She goes, Grandma, you didn't have to, no. Kenzie, stop. Where I have other grandchildren, oh yeah, gimme. But that's one of the things that Terry and her do. And that's why Terry's going down to Texas, is to stay there for a week. And then the next week, they're going to be down in Waco, and it's girls' night. So Waco, look out. Big Mike's going to be spending some money in Waco. Because it's almost school. They're going to go back to school. So it's school shopping time. And Terry will still go through the agony of, no, Grandma, I don't need it. I don't need it. I don't need it. So, but we love spoiling our grandkids. And nobody's ever said not to do it. So I guess they're all for it. If we buy her school clothes, then Kristen doesn't have to buy it. So, and Kristen's a single mom. She's got 3 kids, and it's a challenge. But words are occasionally matter. There's a difference between bending a minor rule and repeatedly violating an important boundary. Okay. On occasion, dessert is one thing. Ignoring all allergies, diabetes, management plan, or medical necessity, diet is another. So I get that. If a kid truly has a food allergy, I didn't hear about food allergies growing up. So I don't know when the pandemic hit the United States or the world, where all of a sudden people are allergic to wheat or, freaking peanut.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I never heard of stuff like that growing up.
Yeah, I've known about peanut allergies for a long time, but the wheat allergies, I think that's all because of all the shit that's been put on the wheat.
Well, I'm going to tell you something. I don't want to sleep with a woman that's allergic to wheat. That would be a deal breaker in marriage.
Why? Because she's not snorting the same stuff you're snorting.
I'm telling you. We were told that the kids are allergic to peanut butter. I said, and I told myself, you're allergic to peanut butter? I've never had peanut butter. So
that's exactly what I was saying, James.
I go, what? I've never had peanut butter. I said, you've never had a peanut butter and jelly sandwich?
No.
I've had jelly on toast, but I don't.
Stay safe, Amy.
And I called the parents. I said, hey, do you have an EpiPen that you should have dropped off? They're allergic to peanut butter. Oh no, we just avoid it. We don't have a pen. I said, well, there's peanuts and all kinds of stuff. Well, they can have that peanut. I go, what? She doesn't like peanut butter.
So she's not buying it, so the kids can't.
So she tells the kids that they're allergic to peanuts. Like, what the frick? I said, dude, let me introduce you to one of the sweetest things in life, a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. He's like, holy crap, Granddad, this is great. So, all right. Now, if he would have truly had a peanut allergy, right? Parents would have had EpiPen or whatever. I had a fast car. I could take him to the hospital. It's right down the road. No problem. Hey, his head swelled up like a basketball. Do something. Because I experienced that as a parent. My son, Kevin, is allergic to penicillin. The first time he got an ear infection, they gave him amoxicillin. You know, that pink stuff?
Yep.
And it cleared it right up. The next year, he had it again. Another ear infection. What they prescribed for him? They looked in his record. Hey, amoxicillin. Gave him amoxicillin right there in the hospital. Within 15 minutes, his head looked like a basketball. His lips were like freaking humongous. His nose holes was all stretched out. He was almost swollen up so he couldn't see. His ears was almost like a hole in the side of his head. I said, holy crap. The doctor came back in. He goes, oh, what did we get? Oh, we just gave him amoxicillin. Oh. He goes, why didn't you tell us he was allergic to penicillin? I said, we didn't know. He had it last year. He goes, oh crap. And they explained to me, if you're allergic to something, right, your body goes like this and you go, oh, man, we don't like this. We don't like this. Ooh, yuck. The next time you get it is when your body transforms into the elephant man. You know what I mean? It's an ugly sight to see your kid, the little kid with a head like this big and shit. And that's when you know.
Yeah.
So his records, no penicillin, bold letters, no penicillin. And let me tell you something. I said, you don't have peanut allergy. You don't like peanut butter, so you don't let them have it. You don't want it in the house. Apparently, the smell of peanut butter nauseates her or whatever. So they don't have it. Well, you come to Grandpa's house, you get peanut butter jelly. Sock them in the belly. All right? It's good stuff. Yeah. So grandparents may bend a small rule, but they should not break boundaries, like we said earlier, involving health, safety, values, or parental authority. So here's the question. What is one rule grandparents should never be allowed to break? Put it in the chat. What is one rule you should never break? And you guys know what it is.
Okay, James, stay safe.
I don't see nobody. Come on, somebody. What is one rule grandparents should never be allowed to break? Yeah, we didn't see it back then. No.
As James said before, when I was agreeing with him, it's all the crap that they're putting in the bloody old ground these days for the growth. GMOs.
I think as a young child, since nobody wants to answer the question, with young children, I think it's bedtime. Right? That should be, my boys went to bed at 7:30 every night. When they were teenagers, they got tired at 7:30. Right?
Yep.
When I told them they didn't, you don't have to go to bed till 10 when they were teenagers. I said, hey, you could go to bed at 10. But around 7:30, it was so ingrained in them that was bedtime. They'd be sitting around.
Okay,
what about food restrictions? I think food restrictions is a must if it hurts their health, if they're allergic to it. Okay. Now, some parents go, our family's keto or our family's vegetarian. Don't let me watch your kid if your guys are a vegetarian, because we eat meat in my house. Okay. We eat meat of all types. All right. What about discipline? Should you inherit that rule in which was set, a boundary set by parents? Do not whip my children. Set them down and reason with them. Okay. What about screen time? I don't think a kid should be on the screen at any time. That has absolutely diminished the social aspect of children nowadays. I notice that kids nowadays have full conversations in a chat.
Yeah.
Text messaging.
Yeah, and they're sitting right next to the one that text messaging.
And the person's in the same room.
Yeah.
Because they're not learning that interaction it's going to take later in life when you get a job. You have to talk to people unless you're a warehouse worker filling
Don't you
orders
swear
at
at me. Don't you swear at me.
Amazon. Okay. And then what about religion? If they're Baptist and you're Catholic, do you take them to the Catholic Church?
No.
I mean, if they're young and they don't really know what's going on, how is it going to hurt? But
It's not going to hurt. It's showing disrespect to your kids.
to your parents, not the kids.
That's what
I
I'm
think
saying.
it's disrespect to the parents.
Yeah, which are your kids, because you are taking your grandkid to your church.
Yeah.
So
Now
that's
I
showing
will tell you that
disrespect to your kids.
I never ever put anything on my children that you have to go. We are Catholic, and that's no. I've never ever did that with my kids. You make your decision.
You're a Catholic.
Yeah,
We can't be friends.
exactly.
I'm a Protestant.
That's why you're a co-host and not a friend. It's like we're in Ireland or something, right?
What?
All
I
right.
am a Christian.
Christian.
Yes, I am a Christian. Now, my father
And he
brought.
says, as long as they are raised around the Bible at the
Thank God.
table, thank God. Yeah. I mean, what are you going to do when your kid comes in and says, hey, I've just converted to being a Muslim?
Get out.
Yeah. I mean, like I always say to people, do not push your beliefs on me. It's kind
I
of like
did not.
I've watched people say, oh, what are your pronouns?
Get the shit out of here.
I said, no, at the dentist office, they had to fill out a thing. He says, what are your pronouns? Dude, I don't have a pronoun. I said, Mike. I usually answer people when they say, hey, Mike.
Yeah.
And so the lady was looking at my thing and she starts laughing. She goes, we have to ask that question. We have to.
Yeah.
We can't
Because
lose business because we
the
don't
idiots
answer.
the idiots have taken over the asylum.
But she said most everybody puts their first name in that box. Yeah. Like I was raised, if you call a child by his name, they'll usually answer you. Not hey them. Hey them. Yeah, that's bullshit.
I got asked my pronouns once, only once, and I turn around and says, heterosexual straight white man. She says, why is that your pronouns? I says, because that's what I fucking am. I am a heterosexual straight white man. If
Yeah.
you don't like me, I don't care. What are your
Granny.
pronouns? Dumb and dumber.
Granny always has candy. Yeah, that's true.
Thankfully, I haven't got to that stage yet.
So what about advice versus interference? Grandparents have experienced that experience should not be dismissed. They have survived sleepless nights, childhood illnesses, school problems, teenage rebellion, and many other challenges. They may see something a new parent does not recognize yet. But experience can become complicated because parenting recommendations, technology, social expectations, and safety guidance changes have changed over time. The method that was common 30, 40 years ago may no longer be recommended today. All right. That does not mean grandparents were bad parents. It means every generation receives different information. Parents can show respect, by listening without becoming defensive. Grandparents can show respect by recognizing that advice is not the same as authority. A useful approach might be the grandparent may say, "Would you like my advice, or you just need me to listen to you?" The parent might say, "I appreciate your experience. Let me consider that and what you have said." That conversation feels really different from, "You clearly don't know what you're doing." The parent would say, "That was 30 years ago. You don't know anything anymore." Tone matters when you're having a discussion. Okay?
That's
Discipline.
why I never get angry with my daughter.
Discipline is one of the most difficult areas. Okay? One of the most difficult areas. Hang on. My son tells me how old.
Jamie, there's a quick solution to that. Do you want to see your next birthday?
Yeah. Should grandparents discipline the children? The answer may depend on the role the grandparents are playing. A grandparent who sees the child for 2 hours during a holiday is in a different position from a grandparent providing childcare 5 to 7 days a week. Any adult supervising children needs enough authority to maintain safety and reasonable behavior. A grandparent should also say, "You may not hit your sister. We don't throw toys in the house. You must hold my hand while crossing the street." Those are reasonable safety behavior expectations. However, parents and grandparents should agree in advance on serious consequences. The worst time to establish those rules is in the middle of a heated incident. The discipline should never become a competition. A grandparent should not try to prove the parents are wrong or too lenient. A parent should not deliberately force the grandparents to enforce rules a grandparent was never told about. Everybody's caring for the child's needs is clear expectations. Grandparents as regular caregivers are totally different. If you're a grandparent and you're watching your grandkids during the work week, okay, there should be clear expectations on your authority during that time period. Okay? You're seeing them 8 to 10 hours a day, 5 days a week. That's 50 hours, okay, out of 7 days. So you're with the child more than the parent really is because the parent's working. So then you have to look at it this way. Who's actually raising the child? Yes, as a grandparent, it is not your child, it's your grandchild. All right? But clear for something like that would have to take some serious communications. Okay? And more communications when you're finding something else. Oh, wait, I'm about to, bust my foot off in this kid's butt. Hey, let me ask you a question. Pick up the phone, call. All right. One thing we don't want to do as grandparents is cause conflict between the parent and myself. If you enjoy your grandkids, this is a must because they dictate when you can and can't see your grandkids.
Exactly.
And yes, some parents use that as a weapon. Okay? And they do. But you don't want that to happen. You might say, well, I'm saving you, $400 or $500 a week watching your kid. I should have some say so in this. Or you can take your kid and spend that $500 a week or whatever it costs for daycare nowadays, and problem solved. But is the relationship fixed after that? No. Okay. It's not. So communication is key. All right. Absolutely key. All right. So have you ever felt that your family appreciated you only when they needed a babysitter? Is the only time you're talking to your kids is when they need you to sit for their kids? I mean, hopefully not. Frickin' Terry's on the phone for an hour a day or more talking to Brittany. And I'm thinking,
You give me her
I
number,
don't
and
have
I'll
a
be talking to her
clue
for an hour a day.
what happened in the last 24 hours that they have that much information every single day. As a guy, I would call Paul up and say, hey, bud, how you doing? I'm doing okay. Oh, what are you going to do this weekend? Da, 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 da. All right, man. Talk to you later.
Yeah.
That's a dude conversation.
Yeah. You give me Brittany's number, and I'll be talking to her for an hour a day.
Yeah. Or it's kind of like Paul calls me up and says, hey, Mike, me and my girlfriend broke up. Oh, man, I hate to hear about that, Paul.
Girlfriend?
It's an example, Paul. Just play the role.
I'm out of that market.
I said, man, I hate to hear that. How you doing? I'm all right. All right, man. Talk to you later. Hey, Terry. Paul just said he broke up with his girlfriend.
Why?
Terry, why'd you break
Terry.
up? I said, I don't know. Well, didn't you ask? No. Well, why didn't you ask?
Because you
Paul
didn't tell
didn't
me.
offer up the information, so I don't
Exactly.
know. Well, Mike, what the hell's wrong with you? You're supposed to ask questions. I said, he didn't seem like he needed any questions asked. He was just letting me know because they were supposed to come over this weekend that him and his girlfriend broke up. That's all I know. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Women can ask questions to the nth degree. There's no doubt about that.
Not women can, women will.
Yeah. Dude, all we need to know is what the subject is. That's it. Mike, I got a new car. All right, what'd you get? Oh, I got a Mustang GT. Oh, dude, all right. Terry would say, I said, hey, Paul just bought a Mustang GT. Oh, what color is it? I said, I don't know. Is it
You'll
the
find out when he
5.0?
comes to see you.
Is it a Cobra? I don't know. Why didn't you ask him? I said, he just called me up and said he had a car. But that I'm talking about, deeper communications need to be done by the parent and the grandparent, especially if you're a primary caregiver. It's got to happen, guys. And different generation values. What my parents' values were back in the 50s and the 60s could be totally different than the values of parents here in the 2000s. Okay? I mean, it's kind of hard for me to believe that the youngest professional footballer that won a World Cup was born in 2006.
Yeah.
20-year-old kid. And he's playing on a national team on the highest level of the sport in the world. And he's a starter on that team. He plays for Spain. He got up there, he looked like a little kid compared to those men that were playing.
Yeah. And he was running rings around them, wasn't he?
Yeah. So the values that my parents, you will say, yes, sir, or no, sir, when an elder's in front of you. We go to church on Sunday. No ifs, ands, or buts. Okay? We do this. We do that. We don't write on the walls with our crayons. Okay?
Do you
We
only
sit
go
at
to
the
church on
table.
Sunday?
We sit at the table until everybody's done eating. We don't bring phones to the table. We sit there and we talk. Okay? I see
Do you
now.
only go to church on Sunday?
All my grandkids are like this at the table. Oh, hell no.
Yeah.
Okay? So, yeah, generational things have changed.
Do you only go to church on?
You couldn't get my kids to know how to set a table. I knew how to do it because that was my job on the week that I had kitchen detail in my house. I had to do all the dishes, take out all the trash, set the tables, and help my mom when she was cooking. And then it rotated 7 times until you had the duty again. My sisters, hey, I'll give you $2 to take my week. Fucking $2 back then was a lot of money back in the 60s and 70s. That was a lot of money to me, being a poor kid. Oh, heck yeah. You know? So values nowadays, I'm not saying that, I mean, these young kids could probably have all the values in the world, but do we practice it? Do we allow the child more freedom nowadays to make their own decisions than they did back when I was being raised? What say you? Okay. Oh, Jamie, I went around with a lawnmower and a 5-gallon thing of gas, and I mowed lawns. I said, mowing and trimming, okay, was $5 a lawn back then. Oh, by the way, I learned a valuable lesson. Find out if they want the front and the back mowed before you set a price. Because I mowed a guy's lawn. It was a good sized lawn in the front. And then he said, oh, here's the key to the lock to the side, so you can get back there and do the back. I mowed the back. It was 1.5 acres. Like, what the frick?
YouTube's not letting me say this.
What's that?
Jamie, in answer to your question, little boys like to feel free when they poop, and being naked is the best way to feel free. That's what it's all about.
Yeah. Yeah. I would tell you something. Brittany is a rule follower. Okay?
Big Mike's not, because Brittany's going to go mad when she comes back and finds out Big Mike cleaned his garage.
Yeah. Brittany is an absolute rule follower. She loved it when they did fire drills and they had to stand in line. She will stand in line to vote. She is a rule follower to the nth degree. The boys, not so much. Take it or leave it. Man, if they let me vote on phone, I wouldn't have to even go downtown. Okay? They're not. My boys were not rule followers. Okay? And then when you become parents, when you were raised up and you're not a rule follower, you pass that down generation after generation. It's kind of like, domestic violence. Domestic violence is learned in the house. A child sees a man physically harm their mother time and time and time again. He's raised up thinking, hey, that woman opens her mouth and my dad don't like it. He just shuts her mouth for her. And a kid's raised that way. So what happens? You've just passed that value, poor or not, onto the next generation because that's what a man does. And what if you have girls in the house? The girls see this time and time and time again. Is that acceptable? And do they search out men that are just like their dads? Okay. I'm not a woman. I don't know. Or do they go totally opposite? Okay. I don't know. You tell me. I did not see that in my parents' relationship. Okay. I've seen a lot of it. I've seen a lot of it. I've seen too much of it being a young man. And I told myself, I will not ever lay my hands on a woman. Now I have, but it was in the line of duty of being a police officer. Okay. And a drunk 6'4", 250-pound woman is a handful. Okay. Because they're not afraid to hit you.
She's nearly as big as me.
Yeah. Thank God they teach you the chokehold. Put them out. Go to sleep. And it's not so much that you're cutting off the wind, you're cutting off the blood flow and let them go to sleep. Yeah. Man, my first domestic with a big girl, whoo. Man, I took a pounding. I took a pounding. So yeah, values do matter. Rules for social media, they matter. If you're a parent nowadays and you say, hey, my kid gets 4 hours a day on his computer, okay, I will adhere to that in a heartbeat because I hate watching kids on computers instead of being outside. Okay.
I say 4 hours a
Maybe
day.
that's why when we have the kids, we go places. We do things with them.
Yeah.
Okay. I sit there and watch my grandson, Zach, fall into the koi pond. I don't know. Tell him, hey, don't get up there. You're going to fall in. Next thing you know, he walks in, he's soaking wet. Fell in the koi pond. How'd it happen? I don't know. So I go out there and I see where he was stepping on the waterfall part and one of the rocks was broke off.
Yeah.
I said, so you were standing here and the rock broke and you slipped and you fell into the pond. He's like going, how did you know? Ooh, reasonable deduction, Watson. And cops do. Cops put up with a lot of crap nowadays. All right. They're afraid of the lawsuits, getting fired. Okay. Yeah. People worked and they earned it. Paid for your first car. Yeah.
Excuse me.
All right. So that does matter. They may have a rule that says ask permission before you post something. If you don't have parental controls on your kids' social media, you're doing everybody a disservice. Okay? Know where your kids at all time. Approve what they post online. All right?
Yeah.
Never argue through a child. Don't put the child in the middle of parent and grandparent theatrics. Okay? A practical family agreement. Let's offer a practical solution here. Parents and grandparents should agree on 3 categories of rules. Category 1, non-negotiable rules. These involve health and medication, allergies and food restriction, car seats and transportation safety, approved caregiving, physical discipline, internet and social media, religious values, contact with prohibited individuals. All right, especially if there's a divorce and stuff like that, and they're playing the kids between them. All right, category 2, routine rules: bedtime, snacks, screen time, homework, chores, and table manners. I agree with all that. Grandparents should generally respect these rules, but parents might allow limited flexibility during special visits. Now, category 3, grandparents' privileges: an extra story at bedtime, a special dessert every once in a while, a favorite activity, staying awake slightly later than the sleepover time, a small surprise or gift, nothing too extravagant. Puts the parents, oh man, but grandpa gives me it. Grandpa will buy it for me. All right. Family traditions, unique to the grandparents' house. These give parents and grandparents room to create special memories without undermining the parent. That approach recognizes both authority and leadership. Okay. So I mean, I agree with all that. I mean, it's fine. But as we close today on this discussion, guys,
You might want to check in your panels first.
what's that?
Somebody's waiting to come up.
Hey, hello.
Hi,
Hi guys, how you doing?
good.
Oh, good to hear. Is my audio okay?
Yes, it's fine.
Audio's all right, but where's your picture?
When I put the camera on, it lags, and so I always leave it off. But I did comment in the YouTube chat just to know it's me. You know what I mean?
All right.
Well, no, thank you for having me. Just looking for like an open stream, like join and chat. Saw your one about like parenting and grandparenting.
Yeah.
But I'm assuming I've come in at the end of the discussion.
Okay. Yeah, we're at the end for the conclusion of this one. Yeah.
I'll have to go back and like watch the full thing then. Sorry for coming in late.
No, that's fine.
That's all right. Mike usually starts us at 8:30.
8:30, did you say?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I can do if I'm still around. Yeah, I can do. But if you're finishing up, yeah, I can like hop out and see if I'm come back in later.
Are you in
All right.
America?
Are you
No,
from
English.
Great Britain?
Because you
English,
sound
yeah.
like a Scouser.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm a Scouser.
Okay, mate. In that case, I'll pass 2-hour time. 2:30 p.m. every Monday and Friday.
Yeah.
So I'll keep my eye out then in future. But yeah, if I've come in at the end and you need me to bounce, I can do.
Okay.
No problem. Take care now.
Oh, take care, guys.
All right. All right.
I thought he was a Scouser when he spoke. But I
we're,
thought James...
we're growing in population over in Great Britain, Paul.
Yeah, I thought it was James waiting to come in.
Hey, James has been a member for 8 months. Thank you for that, brother. I appreciate that.
Because I seen James saying waiting to come up on panel.
Waiting to come up on panel. Oh, he must have been up top. Yeah.
Shade tree at 4:40 p.m.
Okay. All right. So, guys, hey, whatever you do, I always say do things in moderation. You know, enjoy your grandkids, have fun with them. Okay. Teach them, tell them stories about the past, tell them where they come from. Just enjoy their company. I think grandkids, when you have grandkids, I think it puts more life into you. Okay. When you get up into your 60s and stuff, you need all the push you can get, and keeping up with the grandkids with sports and school and all that kind of stuff. Because like when Kinsey played softball, we were at every freaking game. we're not sitting at the house. We're traveling and we're going to her games and stuff like that. And that's, I like that stuff. All right. I really do. But no matter what your situation is, okay, always work to improve the relationship with the child and with the parents as grandparents. Okay. As parents, be tolerable of your grandparents. Okay. Yes, we were raised in a different generation, but you got to be understandable. You're old enough now to understand, hey, where my parents come from with this, and ask questions, have civil conversations instead of being defensive. Okay. So as we close today's discussion, perhaps the answer is not that parents are always right, or that grandparents always know best. Parents and grandparents bring different strengths to a child's life. Parents provide everyday leadership, structure, protection, and accountability, as grandparents can provide wisdom, family history, emotional security, encouragement, and special connections that may remain meaningful throughout the child's life. Do your research, okay? Especially if you're a new parent. Get all the advice you can, all right? Drain your parents' brains, okay? Because being a new parent is frustrating. I mean, it's joyful. I get it. But man, I'm going to tell you what, sleep can make you a crazy cow. I'm going to tell you what. And if you're a husband, just because she had it and she has the teats, don't mean you can't get up in the middle of the night and feed that kid. Give her a break. Okay.
Talking about that was the biggest thing that my ex hated about me. Because when my daughter was born, I got to change her first, bath her first, walk her first, dress her first. She was literally laid up in a bed for iron deficiency because she passed out in the toilets when she went to get it cleaned up. She passed out and literally lost 3 pints of blood.
Yeah. But I'm going to tell you something, grandparents, there's a lot of grandparents that are thrown into the role as parents again. They're raising their grandkids full time because the kids can't get their shit together or something's happened. All right. And I get that. There's several generations in between a newborn child and a grandparent. Okay. And some people are thrown into that. Remember that we've had kids. We probably have had all of them have to come back home for whatever reason, or they had to come for support of some reason because they needed to work something out. Okay, so you're still a parent, even if the label grandparents on you. You're still a parent. So, guys, be wise, make good decisions, love your grandkids. All right, and remember, as a parent, man, free babysitting. You can't put a price on that shit. Woo, doggy. But anyway, guys, hey, thanks for coming in. We will see you Friday.
Terry's looking gorgeous.
She is.
Thank you, Paul.
She always looks that way when she leaves me and goes down to Texas with all those cowboys down there.
Terry ain't got no time for no cowboys.
They say they're bigger in Texas. I don't know.
Yeah, their egos.
But anyway, guys, thanks for coming in. Hey, and this was our first episode on MT Crossroads. So, guys, if you're not subscribed to the channel, we invite you to do that. We appreciate you guys. Hit that thumbs up before you leave out. And, guys, remember, be kind to one another. Help somebody in need. And always, always think of that. Guys, we'll see you on Friday, 8:30 Central Standard Time in the morning with Morning Talk
Or
with Mike and Paul
2:30 p.m. in the afternoon if you're in the
in
UK.
the UK. All right, guys. Have a
Stay
blessed one.
safe. Have a
Love
great
you.
week, everyone.
All right.
On that note, I'm going to go watch grandkids.
See, there you go. She's going to watch grandkids.
Bye, guys.
See,
You're looking mighty handsome, Paul.
doesn't he look good
Thank
when
you,
he's
Larry.
He's all duded up, manscaped and all that?
Yeah.
Oh, I ain't gone that far yet.
Later.
But I will say this, Terry. Did you hear my news about the doctor?
I did. Proud of you. That's awesome.
£41 so far. And it's got that bad that I've had to order a smaller brace
Yeah.
for my back.
All right. We'll see everybody.
Bye, guys.